now on relationship, we have coming back Miracle Ihioma. Now he's back to discuss phone usage and how it affects intimacy in relationship. Welcome back. So last week we spoke about public proposals, right? And whether it was right or wrong, focusing on the wrong things and things like that. So today we're talking about phone usage and how it affects relationships. So what angle are we taking this conversation from?
Tell me.
I should tell you.
Yeah.
You know, it's you that will tell me. You're the coach now. Yeah.
Yeah. So the topic is, I think, self-explanatory. Phone usage and how it affects intimacy, because it does affect intimacy.
Now, positively or negatively?
Negatively.
I think when you say things like that, it sounds negative, straight up, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it affects intimacy in relationship, because we're not talking about using it outside of the relationship, right? We know using your phone is good. Technology has really advanced our lives, made our lives better. But then, if it is used excessively in relationships, it could affect intimacy.
Okay, so it could affect intimacy negatively. Okay, but let's lay the foundation first. Phone usage can also be seen positively, if you agree with me.
Of course.
It can also affect intimacy positively, if you agree with me.
Like in long distance relationships.
Exactly. I know you're talking. You can make phone calls. You can stay in touch with your partner all day. You can chat. You can video call and things like that. Exactly. And then you can also use it to register for counseling.
Now you're being extra.
Yes, now, and also call your pastor when you need prayer. All right. So let's talk about it from the angle, the negative part. Yeah.
Yes, so of course, as good as phone is, and you've established the good things that we can do with our phones.
Yes.
If not properly managed, it could make you drift apart from your partner.
Okay.
Where if you look at pictures of, say, 20, 30 years ago, when phones were not very rampant, of couples and families having family times, meetings, family dinner, and all of that, you would see a more connected family compared to now, where you see a lot of families on the dining table, supposedly having dinner, but then on their phones, right? And that creates a disconnect. In fact, you could even be in a house with someone, say your partner, for 2 hours, and you guys haven't spoken to each other because you are focused on your phone. In fact, you could even see the person giggling over their phone, smiling over their phone, laughing even maybe, and they have never smiled at you for the past 2 hours. Yeah, so all of that could affect how intimate you are. So quality time, for example, is reduced because there's a reason it is called quality time. Quantity time is not quality time. So the fact that I'm around you doesn't mean I'm spending quality time with you. I might be spending quantity time with you. But it is the activities that we get to do together, the conversations we get to have, that determines if it is quality time
yes,
or not.
Very true.
So that is, those are some of the ways I think it affects.
Amazing. Okay, so now how? So of course, it's one thing to actually spot it and say, okay, you know what, this is the problem that it causes right here. But then again, going ahead, I would like to prefer solutions to this type of situation. So how would you say we can manage the phone usage? Because the truth, we can't stay away from the fact that, I mean, our phones are really important in our lives. I mean, a lot of people work off their phones. So even if you're not physically at work, you can literally be working online. Some people at social media are like managers, and people make like a lot of money with their phones. But then, so there's always that incessant need to literally look at your phone and check your notifications and things like that. So how can we manage this in a way that it doesn't affect our relationships negatively?
Yes. So beautifully, like you said, we can't take phones away. Phones are here to stay. Technology is here to stay, to keep getting better, keep growing bigger. But then we must manage it, just like you said. And we can create things like phone-free zones in our homes, for example. Like, okay, where we're in the bedroom together, we'll put away our phones, or where we are having serious conversations, we'll put away our phones. Or every day at between, say, 8 and 9 p.m. or 8 and 10 p.m. We are going to just have family time where we put our phones away and just have real conversations, face-to-face conversations.
So we're talking about intentionality.
Intentionality, being intentional about these things, you know, putting those strategies in place and making sure that you keep to them. Okay, when we are having dinner, everybody put your phone away and let's just concentrate. Because the idea of family, I'm sure you've heard the quotes that says, family that eats together, grow together, or bond together.
Yes.
The idea is not in the food, it's not in the eating. The idea is in the conversations that we have, the bond that we create by the quality time we spend with each other. So our phones have taken that away. So even though we are still eating together, intimacy is a little more lacking right now because we have left the main thing, which is the conversations we're having and all of that, in that space. So we can become intentional about creating safe phone-free spaces, and then being intentional about spending quality time together without our phones.
All right. So now, of course, it's important. Now, we've spoken about the problem, solution. So now, in a situation where you have a couple, right, they're actually married and living together, but then again, one person, so of course, we mentioned intentionality as well. One person is intentional about these things and saying, okay, you know what, I mean, you're thinking of the future of the relationship. You don't want it to definitely, even it's not even about relationship between partners alone, even with kids and parents. Do you understand? Yeah. So, and then, one person is of that opinion, but the other person is not necessarily, maybe the person is not putting into consideration. So what would you say would be the best ways to actually help that partner that wants to be intentional and wants to put these measures, communicate and make the other partner understand that, okay, fine, we need this for our family? What would you say? How can the person go about it?
Yeah, so I think that the partner who wants to be intentional about this should look for maybe the most appropriate time to communicate it, to look for where or when the other partner's guards are down and when they are more open to having a conversation and listening to what they are saying, and then bring it up in those moments, and maybe be a little more assertive when talking about it, so that you communicate the seriousness of how much you want this and how important it is in your relationship. Because if it's casually communicated, the person might just feel, okay, well, it's one of those things.
Yeah, we'll try it.
Yeah, but if you when your partner says, I want us to have a conversation, you know it's serious. You know it's serious. But if it's just maybe over a child, over dinner, I'm just saying, don't you think we should have? But if I say I want to have a conversation, okay, what's going on here? Some people's hearts begin to raise. What is exactly does he want to talk about? Or does he want to talk about? So in those instances, you can then talk about how serious this is, how important it is. Show them how it's going to impact on your relationship and how they are going to benefit if this habit is created. Because a lot of the times we stick to consequences, but we can also show reward. To say there are rewards for this, not just consequences. Not just, our relationship will spoil, we'll divorce, and all of that will drift apart.
So highlight, I need you to highlight now, what are those rewards?
Rewards would, intimacy would grow. Most likely our sex life will get better. Romance would improve as well. The bond within us would also improve. Our relationship with our kids, if you have them, would also improve because of that bond, and we'll be happier. Because
and even important issues will probably be
discussed. Exactly. Conflict will be resolved.
Be resolved.
Exactly.
And all of that. So I think that actually makes a whole lot of sense. All right. I mean, but then again, we know that we are in this part of the world, and some people just believe they see, this money, we have to make it at all costs and all of that. So some people also, because I've had several, so I've actually had several conversations with several people, and then they talk about how there's time for everything, right? So, there's time for family, but there's also time for making money and all of that. But then again, not in the sense of, okay, per day, probably in your day, like, okay, you know that you're going to work from this time to this time, then when you're home, you're home. But more of like, probably like in your phase of life. So they believe that, everybody just be facing, do you understand? So what would you actually have to say to that? Do you believe, there are people of that school of thought that believe that, okay, you know what? Fine, I decided to get married, but then again, we believe that these few first years are to sort certain things out, right? And then later we'll get to everything. So what would you actually have to say about people that approach life?
I like to say that there is identity and there are roles, right? You don't determine your identity, you discover your identity. But when it comes to roles, you determine that, you choose your roles. Being a man is an identity, being a woman is an identity.
Yeah, true.
But being a husband is a role. Being a father is a role, being a wife is a role, being a mother is a role. You chose to become a mother, you chose to get married. It's just like being an accountant is a role. If, for instance, a vacancy is put out and then I decide to apply for that vacancy.
Yeah, that's a choice.
Yeah, it's a choice that I've made. And then I would have to meet up with the responsibilities attached to that choice. So if you decide to get married and nobody forced you to, then you should know that you should create time for your relationship and for your family.
For your family, right?
Yes.
That's actually very, very true and very insightful. So I think in the end of the day, what's really is important is, I mean, having this conversation even before you get into it, right? You cannot overemphasize the fact that, okay, this is actually very important to talk about. Make sure that people are in line and in sync with that, right?
Yes.
And of course, we will also need to keep putting this kind of messages out there, right?
Exactly.
Let's keep on sensitizing people so they know that, okay, fine, whether you're a woman, you're a man, if you decide to do this, it's not something that's going to jump on top of you. It's something that you have to be intentional about. All right. Mr. Miracle, it's always amazing having you here. Talk to us and give us insights about relationships, right?
Thank you very much.
And of course, you'll be here again next week for the final lap of this entire series. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. You definitely heard it right here. Make sure you make intentional plans to put your phones aside and have that quality family time, all right, so that you actually build your bond and build your relationship. And on that note, we'll be going on a quick break, and when we come back, there's still so much more happening right here on Wake Up Nigeria.